Enjoy the convenience of 7 days a week banking and extended hours with Cube from First Arkansas Bank and Trust. Member FDIC. It's time for From the Short Grass with Trey Schaap, a golf podcast for those who love golf, struggle with golf, and just like to enjoy the outdoors and fellowship with friends, all while chasing a ball around trying to put it in a 4 1/4 inch diameter hole. From the Short Grass is brought to you by Stevens Incorporated, an independent financial services firm with the freedom to focus on what matters most. Blackman Auctions. For over 80 years, better auctions have always been Blackman Auctions. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels. We partner with you to deliver high-yield results by managing, developing, and investing in top-quality hospitality assets. And now, from the Short Grass, here is your host, Trey Schaap.
Welcome to another edition of From the Short Grass. I am your host, Trey Schaap. Basketball season is here, and in this episode, we talk with Joe Foley, the head coach of the Little Rock women's basketball team, who on November the 13th will have the court of the Jack Stevens Center named after him. What a fitting honor. Only the 4th women's basketball coach in the country to have a court named after them. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels. Matthew Allen, Blair Allen, they know how to manage hotel properties. And right now, Agassi 7 has their brand new Sunday brunch. Call Agassi 7 now to make a reservation. It's the Hilton Garden Inn, downtown Little Rock, the rooftop, Agassi 7. We're back with Joe Foley after this.
This is Thomas Blackman with Blackman Auctions. The economy is changing slowly but surely. The market is slowing down in a gradual slide. Not an emergency yet, the sky is not falling, but a change is coming. When times are good, auctions make buyers compete to buy at the highest market value. When the economy gets tough, auctions force buyers to make a purchase decision. Either way, auctions get the highest return for a seller and a strong deal for a buyer. With an experienced auction company, it's a simple process. Go to blackmanauctions.com for more information. Since 1938, better auctions are Blackman Auctions.
Strength is measured not by the number of accounts. Strength is placing value on relationships. It's having the vision and the guts to invest in growth. It's the commitment to responsibly manage your money. At Stevens, we believe that our strengths build success, not only for us, but for our clients. Stevens, member NYSE, SIPC.
Heading to El Dorado to check out some live music or to play Mystic Creek? Stay at the Haywood, the only boutique hotel in the middle of downtown and the Murphy Arts District. If you are spending a weekend in Hot Springs, make plans now at the Marriott Courtyard close to Lake Hamilton and Oaklawn. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group manages both of these fine properties, and you will rest easy knowing that your every need is taken care of. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels on the web at bphotels.com.
Welcome back to this edition of From the Short Grass. He's the 3rd active winningest coach in women's college basketball, and his name is going on the court of the Jack Stevens Center November the 13th. On the tee, Joe Foley.
Coach Joe Foley, welcome to From the Short Grass. Thanks for joining me. You're looking good, and it's a big year this year for you. Your 20th year at Little Rock, and they've decided to name the court after you after all you've done. It came from former players, and I know that's what makes you most proud, is that it was former players that decided, hey, we need this court to be named after our coach Joe Foley.
Well, it's a great honor, and especially when, like you say, when your players are the ones that's pushing it. You know, I mean, that's to me that shows the togetherness that we've had and the goals that we've had to work hard, to do the right thing, and a lot of kids have bought into that. And it makes it very rewarding when you can share. You know, all we talk about all the time is sharing, because that's what a team's about. You can have your individual sports like golf, but when you win something and you've won a lot yourself, and it's always fun to win, and it's self-satisfying when you win. But when you have other people you have to depend on, it becomes that much more rewarding because you get to share it with a lot of people. So that's the reason I've always liked team sports. I like individual sports, like to play golf like you do, and just depend on myself. But again, when you fail, it's because you failed, and when you win, it's because you won. But when you play as a team and you win, it's because a lot of other people did something really well. So you get to share all that. So that's the reason I like goals like that and teams like that. And to have this reward that we've had, putting the name on the floor, to me, that's just sharing my name on the floor with all those players.
A little bit different look this year heading into the Ohio Valley Conference from the Sun Belt Conference. Do you like the makeup of your team this year? You seem a little more energized than you have the past several years, and maybe that was just because of COVID and everything.
Well, I think that we've got some kids that really are working hard. We haven't got enough returning players right now because of injuries and things that happen. That we've got 2 now with Tia going out in the scrimmage game and Angelique being out, and then we have the one that couldn't get the visa until next semester. So I had one that quit. So the 4 or 5 kids that we thought we would have experience, we don't have right now, and that puts a lot of pressure on the new team, and especially against the people that we're playing. We did all right against Louisiana Tech, but against the people that we're fixing to have to play, that's going to be a tough task. And, hopefully we'll go get those kids back here before long, get the other one, and have a little bit more experience to go with them in the second semester. So, it may be more of a second semester deal than it is this semester.
Before we get into golf, your emotions on November the 13th. I know there's a big basketball game that will be going on, but do you think once you see the former players from Little Rock, and not just Little Rock, but Arkansas Tech as well, how are you going to be emotionally? Will you be able to keep your emotions in check?
I will when the game comes. But during that period of time, the first part of it, whenever we're doing the introductions and, the naming of the floor and people asking me what I'm thinking like you are right now, it's a little easier right now. But when you got that many players there and sharing that much emotion, it'll be tough. And, it's to me personally, if you don't have those kind of emotions and have that kind of deep feeling, then it probably didn't mean a whole lot to you. If you put 44 years into something, it means quite a bit to you. So, there's no way that you can hide that, and you shouldn't have to. I mean, I've watched Coach Krzyzewski and other coaches, Roy Williams and all those guys, and they couldn't hold it back. So they're no tougher than I am. So, and I'm no tougher than them. So I know it's going to be a tough situation, but it's a good situation. It'll be tears of joy, not tears of, anguish or anything like that. It'll be tears because, it's just going to be so satisfying to be around those people.
When did you first pick up a golf club? Do you remember?
It was later for me. I mean, I went to Arkansas Tech. I was coaching there. The men's basketball assistant was the golf coach there, too, and it was Coach Faulkner. And we got to be good friends. So, golf was something that you miss every once in a while you might see somewhere. And I thought, man, I couldn't play that game. It's not that hard, and it's individual, and it's just not something I'd probably do. And then once he got me going out there with him and playing, I got hooked. The good thing about there is, I didn't travel all over the country recruiting. Most of our kids were going to come from Arkansas, so I knew who I was going to get pretty well. So I had a lot more time. I could go out and play at the country club there in Russellville. So, man, I got hooked on it. Usually during the summer it was 3 or 4 times a week, and maybe, up until the season started, it's at least twice a week, But, you don't have that. I hadn't had that luxury here, but up there, I really got hooked on it, and I love it. I mean, to me, it's the, like I said, I played baseball and basketball in college. Golf, to me, is so much tougher. And it's just a tough sport. It's a mental sport, and you know it a lot better than I do. And I really enjoy watching good players play, just like in any sport. I love watching good guys, good players. I've read a lot. I'm reading a lot more, and I'm sure when I put the ball down, that's something that'll probably consume me the rest of my life as long as I can do it. So I'm kind of looking forward to that part of it.
I was going to say, I watched you on bus trips before, and you're not watching game film or anything. You're there watching old golf films about how to get better, and you've even asked me before, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Yeah, you need to take a break from basketball in the season sometimes, and so you're watching golf films about the swing and stuff.
I tell you what, I've watched so much golf in the last probably 6 months. I got to watching so much, and I got to watching the big Hogans and all the old guys and thinking, okay, I'll try this, And I got the shanks so dang bad. I even asked you. I got the shanks so bad I couldn't even play there for about 2 weeks because I watched so much film. But I've been hitting some. I go out there across the river, and, it stays open forever. So it gives me the opportunity. It doesn't just have to get somewhere at a certain time. So it's gave me the opportunity to go and hit more balls. And I'm reading a lot, like you say, about it. My swing's getting a little better. I'm getting a little more confidence. And I'm enjoying going out and playing a little bit more now. I'm not hitting it everywhere. I'm starting to get a little draw in my age, and I need that, So, but it's starting to pay off a little bit. All the things I've read, and I hadn't taken a whole lot of lessons, and probably should, but I think I'm more the type that I'm probably a self-teacher, and just read a lot about it and get some concepts. And I think you got to try different things that will work for you, because as you well know, that sport, to me, what gets me about that sport is there's so many conflicts about how people do it. One will say you do it this way, and one will say it's just the exact opposite. And to me, I want something cut and dry. Like, this is the way you do this. And in that sport, I think you kind of got to just experiment and kind of figure out which way to go.
It's a lot different than running motion offense. I mean, motion offense is motion offense. You get to golf, you can hold the club different. The swing's going to be different. There's a different way to get around a golf course.
Exactly. And if it's 1 degree off, it makes a huge difference. In basketball, if you're just a little off, it still may go in that hole. It's pretty good a size hoop up there. Yeah. But you got a golf swing and you're 2 or 3 degrees off, that ball's going to go everywhere. But golf's a great sport. You talk about challenge. To me, it's a great challenging sport. And I love to compete. I'm competing against myself. I'd rather compete against myself as anybody, because to me, I want to be good at it. And it's hard to be good at it.
Who is must-see TV when they're on the golf course for you?
There's so many good ones, but Tiger was always one I enjoyed watching because he played at such a high level. And like I say, I like to see the best, like the Michael Jordans. You like to see how did they get there. You like to watch their mentality, how they go about it. And to me, they're all kind of the same. They've got that focus. It's just straight on, 100% focused on what they're doing. Nothing's, they want that challenge. They want the ball in their hand. They want that last shot. I always liked watching, what was the Day from Australia? What's his name?
Jason Day.
Jason Day, I always liked watching him. He's kind of faded here a little bit lately, but I always liked watching him. The new guys that's coming up, what's the one that won the Open?
Matthew Fitzpatrick.
I like him. And I like the other guy that was the number one here up until last week.
Scotty Scheffler from Texas.
I like him. I love watching him play. So the new guy, to me right now, golf's in a transition, and I'm starting to kind of see, and I probably watch golf every weekend if I'm not out playing, or we got now the big games and stuff, but I'll still watch it. But to me, I'm starting to see those guys, and it's kind of fun to see those guys like Thomas.
Justin Thomas, yeah, JT.
Yeah, I like watching him, and he seems like a great guy. It's fun to see those type of guys developing right now.
Now, one of your good friends who, by the way, was also a women's basketball coach and has his name on a court. You're going to be you're going into some good company here. Only 4 women's basketball coaches will have their name on a court. Pat Summitt, Kay Yow, Summitt at Tennessee, Kay Yow at NC State, Gary Blair at Texas A&M. They did that last year for him. It was his last year. He retired. But you two are good friends, and you guys, I hear all this talk from Gary Blair about – I want to take Foley on the golf course. That's where I can get him. I can't get him on the court, but I can get him on the golf course.
Well, I beat Coach Blair on the golf. He likes to forget those. Just like all coaches, you don't want to remember those losses. But Gary is, to me, especially for his age now, he's 10 years older. I'm going 67. He's 77. And to me, he's always had one of those swings like I'm talking. It fits him. Nobody. I don't see a lot of people play like him, but he knows his game, and he knows the bets to make. He knows how to get the bets on his side, and he loves to win. And man, we have it. And I'm sure when I get the time and I'm retired, me and him's going to take some trips down to Florida, and we're going to watch a lot of spring baseball because he's a big baseball fan. I am too. And he's a Texas, and I'm a Cardinal, which you're a Cub, so you don't count. So. So
you go to Arizona to watch the Cubs in spring baseball.
But we're going to have some great games. We're going to have some great rounds, and I'm going to try to get him into fishing, but that probably won't happen. But he does love playing golf, and he does love watching baseball, so we share those two things together too.
And he lives on a golf course, the Traditions Club, which is the home course for Texas A&M, and I've gotten to play it a couple of times. And then last year when I was talking to him, and he told me this too, Coach, is on the back of his house, he keeps a refrigerator stocked full of drinks and everything, and everybody out there at Traditions knows that when you go by his house, just run up there and get you a drink out of the refrigerator. I mean, he loves people and loves doing things for people, and if he could do something for someone on the golf course, give him a cold beverage or whatever, he'll do it.
He will, and he loves talking. He talking.
Does that too.
That's where we're a little opposite. I'm a little bit more,
you sit back and listen and watch.
I sit back and watch, and he talks, and that makes us a good pair because both of us ain't trying to talk and outdo each other all the time. So I love being around him, and like you say, he's one that he enjoys being in front of the media. He enjoys being in front of people. I mean, he likes crowds, he likes being around, and he likes things going on. And he's missing the heck out of this, Coach, and I can tell you.
You think he is?
Oh, I know he is. I've talked to him, and he's having a hard time. And because I think I don't think it's the X's and O's as much as it is just being there, being around people. I think that's what he misses more than anything.
Well, if he misses it so much, bring him up here and have him be a volunteer assistant on your staff.
Oh, I'd love to, but like I say, he's going to be out playing golf. He's going to be around people somewhere. And I thought we'd actually probably see him on TV some. He'd be a great person if they can keep him from going.
I was going to say, he's going to go too long when he's talking.
He's not one of short sentence now. You ask him a question, it's going to be, all right, here we're going to do this from now till about 10 minutes. So it'd be hard. But if he could learn that part of it, he'd be great because he knows every coach. He knows all about the sports. He knows the females in the sport that's, doing what. He's always caught up in it. To me, he's always talking about, the USA games and all this stuff. He was one that just studies the overall, where the basketball is, where it needs to go and stuff like that.
I'll say this. When we were in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, I told you I took my golf clubs, and I wasn't going to book a tee time until after we won that first game of the NCAA tournament that year, 2015. It just happened to be against Gary Blair and Texas A&M. Right. You won your 700th game in that game. But that Sunday night, you wanted to kind of try and get away from the basketball for a little bit, and we thought about going to a Top Golf. We just couldn't find.
You couldn't get on.
We couldn't get there. It was full.
Didn't we go? And
yes.
We couldn't even get a time.
Yes.
And it's like 11 o'clock at night.
11 o'clock at night, you and your son CJ, we tried to go out there.
I'd watched all the film. You get tired of watching film after about 3 hours. You need a little break. So we decided we'd do that. And that was back, I think, when Top Golf was just first starting.
It was first starting up, I think. It was new.
That place was booked.
It was booked solid. We couldn't even get a bay.
Exactly. And I've been to a few of those now, and they're a lot of fun. I enjoy them, especially if I take Weedor out there and we start shooting for those certain scores, and he's one that's going to break his back one of these days trying to swing a golf club.
You've actually scheduled some series on the golf course, or at least the driving range, have you not?
Oh, yeah.
Opponents.
Yeah, that's how we got Arkansas. Me and Mike was out playing at Lotion. We got invited to play at Lotion, and we got out there, and Mike, about the third or fourth hole, it's, hey, we need to play. He said, I need to play in Little Rock. He said, I want to play in Little Rock. And he said, I want to play in Little Rock for 4 years. And I thought, man, you're crazy, but I'll take it. You want to come here for 4 years, and naturally it ended up with COVID and everything. It ended up home and home type, and that's fine. I mean, but Mike was the one that initiated it. And, he's going to Pine Bluff this year. So, yeah, and Coach Blair and I, we've been on golf courses. I've got, with other coaches, met through Coach Blair's tournaments and things like you're talking about. He does the tournament for the kids that need some help, and things like that. And he's done it for years. And I used to get to play in all those all the time. But here lately we haven't. But I'll start going back. But I met a lot of coaches through Coach Blair at those tournaments and got games from those. So, yeah, you're exactly right. The more you get to know coaches personally, the less it becomes about who wins and loses. It's more about, okay, let's play each other. And Vic, that's, I got to know Vic playing with, Coach, he was Coach Blair's assistant and got to play golf a lot together. And that's how we got Mississippi State. So, you know, a lot of those things, you know, you're right.
Yeah. I just think that, you know, a lot of people, I think golfers realize it, but golf can help you not only in life but in business as well. You're a basketball coach. It can help you in your profession.
Well, you know, all you read about a lot, too, was Frank Broyles when he was the AD, taking people and playing golf at Augusta. And, you know, that's how he got to, you know, Arkansas where they are and the money that they got and the business associates they got. And I would say 9% of those probably took place on the golf course.
You ever gotten to play Augusta?
No. That's a dream. That's one of your. I just want to even go and watch. You know, one of these days I'm going to at least get to go and watch. But yes, I'd love to play.
I knew the answer to that question before I asked it. I just had to throw it out there. There was a time when I think we played Georgia Southern in Statesboro, and our flight back was out of Augusta, Georgia. That morning, and we were sitting there at the airport, and we were joking about. I think our hotel was close to the golf course too, that we had to stay in that night. We were joking about. You realize how close we are to Augusta National right now?
Well, one year I told you this story. One year I was down there. They used to, you know, we had AAU tournaments. Nike always had a big AAU tournament in Augusta. So one day it was kind of misting, and I didn't have a game till later that afternoon. So I was out and. You know, I'd seen the Magnolia. You could see it from the road, you know, and I thought, well, I'm going to drive around to see if there's a place that you can kind of ease into and see a little bit of. And I pulled up in where it said trucks only, and I pulled up in there, and a guy met me before I barely got through the gate. And he said, don't turn around, just back up and get out.
and you said?
I said, yes, sir. I didn't try to turn around. I just backed up and got out. And I was wanting to tell him that, hey, Warren Stevens is one of my friends, you know, but I knew that wouldn't do that. Warren would be going crazy if they called and said, you know this guy here? And he'd say, I don't know who that is.
That would be something. You and former Little Rock coach Steve Shields, good friends, and have played a lot of golf together.
Played a lot, and Coach is a great player. I mean, you've seen him play and knocks the ball a ton, and, you know, he's played for his dad in college at Baylor, and his dad was a golf pro. His dad took me out. I took him, and we'd go out when he'd come in and visit Steve. I'd steal him from Steve, and I'd take him out to Chenal, and he'd watch me hit balls, and he'd say, try this and try this.
Yeah.
And just a great guy, super guy, and Steve's the same way. Steve would do anything for you, and, you know, super person. I love being with Steve, and we got to coach together here for 13 years, and after every year was over, about May, we'd take off to Vegas, and we'd play golf and have a great time. I love going out there and playing, and Joe Klein went with us some, and you know, Klein's teacher from Phoenix. I remember getting to meet him one time. Yeah. And so that's another, you know, where golf comes in handy, is just doing stuff like that and getting away with guys and doing that. But you know, Steve is, to me, he's one of those. He's like you. You don't have to play for a month and then go out there and shoot a 75, you know, and that just amazes me. You know, that just amazes me how you guys. And I think it helps too when you're growing up, if you're playing the sport as you're growing up and get the fundamentals. I think it's a little older for, you know, like I say, I started when I was probably 35. So I think it's a little harder to learn. And, you know, but anyway, to me, people wouldn't know this, and you wouldn't even know that, but I can go out and hit golf balls 2 or 3 hours just on the driving range, and I can hit a ton of them. And I'll be sore the next day, but I can just stand there and just hit. I don't even
really.
I go out to Chenal sometimes, and I'll try to pull over by a shade tree or something if I can. But it just, you know, I can just spend hours out there just hitting golf balls. I'm just one of those.
Just trying to tinker.
And I was the same way when I was playing, you know, growing up with baseball. I had a backboard out there in my backyard, and I could get a rubber ball, and I'd just throw it spots, and I could just stay out there for 3 or 4 hours.
How big was the spot, and did you hit it all the time?
Not all the time, but, you know, it was, you know, it'd be a small, very small spot on that backboard. I'd say, you know, if I hit it here, you know, I've got this and I'm doing this. So I had all kinds of games where, you know, I don't have to have a lot. And that's a good thing about golf. You don't have to have people with you. I go down to Hot Springs, and I'll go out and walk 9, you know, late in the evening. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I may drop 5 or 6 balls if there's nobody around, just drop 5 or 6 at each hole. And I may hit 5 off the tee box, and I'm going to have to walk 100 yards to the right and 100 yards to the left and pick up balls. But I've always been one that can focus and just stay and do those things. I enjoy that.
Favorite golf course Joe Foley's ever played?
I think it'd have to be a Lotion. I mean, geez, that's a great course. I mean, it's just so beautiful out there, and the way they keep it, and to me, it's challenging the greens. I'm not a real good putter, but the greens, you can just tell that's what the big boys play, and stuff like that. And it just gives you a great feeling to be able to compete on something like that, on a course like that. If you make a par, it really makes you feel good.
Outside of Augusta, favorite course that you've seen that you want to try and play?
Oh, probably Pebble Beach. I want to go to Pebble Beach, and me and you've talked about that.
We've talked about that. We tried it this past summer, and they were booked solid.
They were booked, and that's probably going
maybe I'll start working on that trip right now.
I was fixing to say I'm going to go here in the next year or two. I promise you, I'm going to be at Pebble Beach, and then
I'm going with you.
Okay, and I should have, I should have went to the one I was down there in St. Augustine and. What's Sawgrass?
TPC Sawgrass, yeah, with the
I started to drive over there. It was just like 45 minutes from where we were at, and we were vacationing. And I thought about going. I should have. I kicked myself now.
You should have played it.
So yeah, I went. And you said, I asked you what you made on that 17th hole, and something like that you get to see every year on TV. That just intrigues you that much more. And if I'd been playing a little bit better. That was back when I was shanking a little bit.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to be shanking on that hole.
Exactly.
You talk about having 5 golf balls. It'd take you at least 5 to get it on the green, maybe.
Exactly. So, but those two, and I almost went on a trip, and we canceled because of COVID stuff. We were going to go to Ireland, and I was going to try to play the old course. And
over in Scotland, that'd be nice.
I'd be willing to go out there and stand at 5 in the morning.
Well, Coach, there is a little game coming up this next summer between the Cubs and the Cardinals in London, and what's just north of London?
Exactly.
The old course in Scotland, Edinburgh.
We may have to look at that. We may have to. I know you're going to the game, right?
Oh, heck yeah! I mean, I'm trying to find a way right now to get everything booked.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be against it. I mean, I'd love to do that.
How about that? We pull off the old course and Pebble in the same summer.
We better have us a little money.
You got some money. You keep working, you're going to have more money.
Exactly.
You can't retire yet.
But no, those would be, those you asked about, those courses to me, that's the ones that, just stand out to me.
Fantasy foursome, you and 3 others, living or deceased, that you could play around a golf with, who would it be?
Oh, God. I think Tiger. Arnold Palmer. Jesus, I think it'd have to be Jack Nicklaus.
Wow.
Yeah, that'd be unbelievable to play those. And, I wanted to throw in Michael Jordan just because I'd like to see kind of how Michael Jordan is, as a person being around him. And you hear all those things.
Well,
but
if
still,
you want to play with Michael Jordan, there's another basketball coach here at Little Rock that could get you on his golf club down in Florida.
Yeah. And Coach Walker, has talked about playing and those guys. And, with Coach Walker and Joe Klein, Joe's always, I used to go over in Joe's office and sit down and say, all right, tell me a little bit about the NBA. And he's told me some great stories. I mean, when you're a basketball junkie and you get to hear people talk about the inside part of the game, what goes on, it just amazes you.
I know. Well, Coach, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on the naming of Joe Foley Court at Little Rock. Well deserved, and glad to call you a friend.
Well, thanks for being a part of it. You've been a great part of it, and people like you are the ones that make it special.
This is Thomas Blackman of Blackman Auctions. You all know by now I'm not a good golfer, but my son loves the game and he and I have been playing more. I've got my score down to, I've quit playing a scramble on every hole. I'm using the bunker rake much less than I used to, and a lot of the time I hit my drives past the women's tee box. All of my success in golf can directly be tied to me listening to From the Short Grass. Without it, I would not be the golfer I am today. Trey, you owe me $20 for that. Trey knows golf, I know auctions. Come see us at BlackmanAuctions.com. Since 1938, better auctions are Blackman Auctions.
When your travels take you to Bentonville for a meeting with Walmart, a trip to Crystal Bridges, or the Walmart amp for a concert, make sure you book your stay at one of the top Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group properties. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group manages the Doubletree Suites, an all-suite hotel with tons of meeting space, and the Hilton Garden Inn, which has been newly remodeled rooms throughout the entire property. The best place to stay in Northwest Arkansas is a Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group property. Visit them on the web at bphotels.com. Welcome back to From the Shortgrass. Blackman Auctions. Find them on the web, blackmanauctions.com, for their upcoming auctions. Thomas Blackman and the crew at Blackman Auctions, they know auctions, one of our great sponsors of From the Shortgrass. Jack Stevens Center, November the 13th. 12:30 for the court unveiling of Joe Foley Court, 1 o'clock for the tip against Ole Miss at the Jack Stevens Center, Sunday, November the 13th. That's it for this edition of From the Shortgrass. Remember to always repair your ball mark on the green and a couple of more. And I hope to see you sometime soon from the Shortgrass.
You've been listening to From the Shortgrass, a weekly podcast dedicated to the game of golf. This has been a presentation of the Buzz Radio Network.